Hi there! Welcome to the Legally Blind Geek YouTube channel. My name is Mike. On this channel, my focus is overcome low vision challenges. Today, we're going to take a close look at how to set up and use VoiceOver with the latest and greatest Mac OS update 11.1 Big Sur. Stick around, we got plenty to share, and I believe you're going to find it really interesting. Welcome to my iMac running Mac OS 11.1 Big Sur. In today's video, we are going to cover accessibility features that come free standard on all Apple computers. Whether they're the desktop or the laptop, they all have the same accessibility features. And just for full disclosure, none of this is sponsored by anyone. This is just my own opinions and setting up the accessibility features the way that I need them to work for me. And this is an old iMac, older by today's standards, I suppose. It's a late 2015 iMac 5K 27-inch iMac. You know, nothing special other than that. And we're going to set up accessibility features the way I use them and explain other options that might work for you. And, well, before we get too far into this, let me go ahead and close this box out and show you where we find it at. So, first off, this is the standard view on a Mac, whether it's the MacBook Pro or iMac, whatever, with no zoom, no magnification. This is just the Big Sur desktop in dark mode. So I use a dark mode and dynamic just because it's kind of cool. You might like it brighter. I like the dark contrast, so that's why this is set the way it is. Now, way I have my computer set up, I use Zoom in conjunction with VoiceOver. We're going to go through, show you how to do that, and explain to you why I set it the way that I set it up this way. So let's go ahead, and the easiest and quickest way to find these settings for most people is just go to the top left-hand corner and find the Apple. Click on the Apple. The drop-down menu will appear. We're going to go to System Preferences, open System Preferences, and then from System Preferences, we're going to, yes, my name is Mike Tettleton. I am the creator of the Legally Blind Geek YouTube channel, and I appreciate all of your help and support. So with that being said, please, if you haven't already, subscribe. Please subscribe. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up button. If you don't like what you see, hit the thumbs down button. And either way, go ahead and subscribe. When the notifications option presents itself, tick all. That way you'll see all the comments that people make, and you'll see all the videos that we will be uploading in the future. But having said that, we're going to go to where accessibilities are, the accessibility icon right here. We're going to click on it. We're going to open accessibilities, and then goes to the overview tab. And then from the overview tab, there's a brief description as to what accessibility features adapt your iMac or your Mac to your individual needs. So we're going to talk about how I set it up to fill my needs. And as a visually impaired person, I'm legally blind, and I don't have any detailed vision. I use my peripheral, but I like to use as much eyesight as I have when I can, as I can. So that's why I set it up the way that I set it up. And just for everybody out there that might be wondering, I used to be a Windows user, and I made the transition from a Windows computer to Apple, about 6 years ago. So a lot of the things that I have learned over the past 6 years have all come together in this video, and that's how I know that what I do and the way I set it up works best for me. So having said that, let's move right along here. I went away from the Windows-based computer. I didn't use the Windows screen reader. I had Zoom Text. So for all you Zoom Text users out there, I was one of you once upon a time, and I've moved to the Apple Brain side of things, I guess you could say, and I'm using VoiceOver with Zoom to accomplish my goals. So we go to VoiceOver, And it gives you an option of enabling voiceover or turning voiceover right here, enable it. And when you do that, you can toggle voiceover on and off using the Command F5 key. But one thing I want to stress, once you enable this, it changes the way that your keyboard commands work. It changes the way that you can, some of the flexibility that you have. Simply because when that's enabled, this is the view that you will see of your screen. It doesn't allow you to zoom in to see anything better. Basically what it does is it will stop at the top left-hand, start at the top left-hand corner of the screen, and via your VO keys, which are your command and your command and options keys, pardon me, and right arrow, left arrow, up arrow, and down arrow, you'll move the focus of voiceover from one spot on the screen to another, whether it's across the menu bar or moving down to a text box or moving down to the dock. And the dock is down here for those that may not be familiar with that terminology. But having said that, I choose not to do that because I like to zoom in. I do have some vision left, and I like to zoom it in so that if I can zoom way in so it's really big and it doesn't pixelate too awfully bad, so that I can use what vision I do have to see that it says voiceover. Subsequently, I can go over here and I can see all this too. But let me say this, if you're going to enable voiceover and you want to give it a whirl, I strongly encourage you to do that. But before you do, go ahead and go down here to where it says Open Voiceover Training. Now, when you open that up, you might want to, before you turn voiceover on or you turn Zoom on or anything like that, you may want to enable, or you may want to ask a friend that has vision, has good sight, to go through this, work with this for you, with you, through you, however you know what I mean. Be able to work for you and with you to figure out how to best set this up so that it fills your needs. Now, the voiceover training is going to be like, I think 22 pages of some pretty detailed instructions as to how to enable and disable or turn on, turn off voiceover, and what the voiceover modifier keys are, and how to use your option and command key in conjunction with other hotkeys, modifier keys, shortcut keys, whatever the term, whatever you like to use, in conjunction with your up, down, right arrows and stuff like this. In addition to that, you can go over here to where your voiceover utility is, and in there you can go in and you can set up stuff like what the display is going to look like or how the display is going to appear. You can set verbosity, other settings like that in your voiceover utility. And I'll leave that for another time. If you have any questions about these kinds of things, post them in the comment section down below, and I'll try to get back to that and go into those a little bit deeper. But right now, we're talking about how I have learned to use voiceover in conjunction with Zoom, and have got 5-6 years experience doing this. So this is just how I've kind of settled into it. Hopefully it will help you to determine how to best set this up. And what I mean Zoom, voiceover, and other related accessibility features that are provided for free on all Apple computers. So with that being said, I'm going to go to Zoom. And this is where I set up not to use the keyboard shortcuts. So I've tried using the keyboard shortcuts, and basically all you do is you just tick this box and it will activate these commands or these modifier keys so that you can toggle zoom on and off via this keystroke. You can zoom in with this keystroke. You can zoom out with that keystroke, the equal, the minus sign as your indicator as to whether you want to zoom in or zoom out. Personally, I find it quicker, easier, and smoother for me to use the scroll gesture with the modifier keys to zoom. Now, I just tick this box to select this option. You can select them both. I've used both of them in conjunction with one another, and I've just got to where I don't even turn this back on anymore because I don't hardly ever use it. I have no reason to. The trackpad, the gesture is a 2-finger swipe up and a 2-finger swipe down while holding the modifier key. So if I 2-finger swipe up, it zooms in. If I do a 2-finger swipe down, it zooms out. Okay, and the modifier key that I have chosen is the command key, which is right here. So it says command, it gives you a little picture of what the icon looks like on the key itself on the keyboard. To change that, you just go to your drop-down menu here with little blue arrows up and down. You can select the control, the option, or the command. Whichever works best for you is fine. I just find the command key works best for me because it's easy to find. There's a command key on either side of the space bar. So if I'm doing something with my left hand or my right hand, I can just pick one side of the keyboard and go from there. In addition to that is the zoom style. Now this is where it's kind of interesting. The zoom style, I select full screen. Okay, and there are 3 options: full screen, split screen, and picture-in-a-picture. So I'm going to zoom out here just a bit. Now, in the split screen, this portion of the screen down here is all going to be just like you see it right now. But then about right up here where my cursor is, I don't know if you can see the pointer or not, but from about here to here is the portion of the screen that it zooms in on. The rest of it stays normal view, and just this top portion of the screen will provide a view window or a zoom window. So if I were to scroll out just a little bit so I can see that and click on that, now if I zoom out, it's just the top portion of the screen zooms out, and when it goes to standard size, it just goes back to the full screen. So if I push my modifier key down and zoom in, as soon as I start to zoom in, you see the line appear, and just the top portion of the screen is all that zooms. So you can move around wherever your cursor is. It helps see that. Now, if I was here at full screen, I can see in the top that it says full screen, and it's kind of hard. If I'm looking at the top of the screen, I can see it. I can see the little cursor there, and the cursor has a tendency to disappear when it's over text because of the same color. And I've tried playing around with making the cursor different colors or different sizes, and the problem with that is it changes the focus to the point where I can't really tell where the little pointer is. Now, and if I go over the blue box, sometimes it would disappear on that color of blue, but I can click on that, and if I go back to full screen, then it goes to where the full screen is magnified. Again, I'll go from that and go to picture-in-a-picture. Now I can see where the picture-in-the-picture or the split screen might be useful for some folks, because basically you have all the standard sites, everything is standard view, no zoom or anything like that, except for right now what's in this box. So with the little box, you can put it up here at the menu bar and slide it across, and these menu items that are kind of hard to see, it zooms in that box, and that may be all you need. But then the problem is where's my little cursor at? Right there, maybe? Yep, it is. So that's the only thing that you need to be aware of. And even if you go over here and you click on that and you bring your widgets to bear, you can go over the widgets and you can see a little bit about what's in this box on the widget. Well, I guess it's 35 degrees outside. And if we go down to where the clock is, maybe. See, it's just kind of hard to find out where stuff is at. Moving it around. But that's one of those things that not really a fan of. I'm not really a fan of. Then if I go back over here again, zoom style, trying to find it. There it is. Okay, and then go to full screen. And a couple things, when you're in that mode, in picture-in-a-picture, and you're having a problem seeing something, so as picture-in-picture, and if I can find the little blue box and get my cursor on the little blue box and set that up, as I move my pointer up and down, see how whatever the item is in focus changes to blue? That makes it about the only way that I can tell exactly where the pointer's at. That might work for you. I'd be interested in you sharing that with me down in the comments section. If that picture-in-the-picture looks like the way to go for you, just let me know. If you think maybe the full screen is better or the split screen is better, if you wouldn't mind, take a minute and just post in the comment section that you like X, Y, or Z, and this is why. I would really appreciate that, because that would give me some information that might help me out. So this is how we set it up, VoiceOver and Zoom. And down here, if you wanted to, you could enable, just before we get away from it, enable hover text. So basically what that does, if you select that, if I hover over this text and I hit my modifier key, see, it highlights and then it expands, enlarges that selected portion. If I was the options, so if you didn't want to use full magnification all the time and you enable this, it gives you that option of being able to see without zooming all the way in or all the way out about something. You can zoom out, and that sometimes being able to view the real estate makes it a little bit easier for maintaining a good understanding as to where you're at on a page. Because even if I go up here to where it says accessibility, or if I go over where the search is, it will say search, and I can click on that to select it or whatever. So that might be the way that you want to go about it. And see, if you go over the button, it's going to tell you the red button is close. The other button is minimize, and then you got the zoom. So that might be something that works for you. But we're just playing around with it. I'm just showing you. Sometimes I turn this on, sometimes I turn it off, because I'm just not sure whether I like it or not. I can see where it comes in pretty handy. So I kind of like that utility, and if I release my command key, it just disappears. So I'm going to leave it ticked for right now. And this is basically the way that I set up, and I have learned to use Apple's accessibility features that are free to all Mac users. And the one of the great things about Apple, and if you have a computer and you want to set it up for, say you have one computer for the family, you can go in and set up different profiles. And if you set up a profile for a VIP, a visually impaired person, that has all these settings, they don't impact or they don't affect other profiles on the same Mac. So you can have 3 or 4 different profiles on one computer and set them all up differently, and the settings on one doesn't impact the other one. And that's what we do here in my household, because I've got some kids and the wife that like to use my computer, but they hate Zoom text. When I was on the Microsoft computer, they don't like Zoom. They don't like VoiceOver because it just gives them too much information. They don't understand it. But visually impaired people, we do what we have to do to be able to use all this modern technology. So just a quick, let's just find something here so I can show you how it works in real time. I'm going to go to Google Chrome. I'm going to open Google Chrome, and I'm going to go up here to, let's say, LGB Twitter. That's my Legally Blind Geek Twitter page. And I can zoom in here, and I can, let me just zoom all the way out. This is what it looks like when it's zoomed all the way out. This is what normal people see on their normal computer, with normal vision. As a visually impaired person, legally blind person myself, I have a tendency to just zoom it in until it focuses on what I'm focused on now. And you see how that did when I pushed my command key down to zoom in and out as I go over something. See how it increases the size of that? Now that may or may not work for you. It can be a little bit disconcerting, but it gives you some more information on a particular list of items without having to zoom in on the entire page. And if you don't want to see that, just let go of the command button and it goes away. But if I want to zoom in on this over here, or if I want to hit my command key and zoom in and out, it'll do that too. But I can zoom in so that I can see this without having to use VoiceOver, Home, Explorer, notifications, messages, and stuff like that. Looks like I might have a message or two over there. Might have to get to that later. But when I get over here, I'll go ahead and zoom out just a little bit. If I go down through here and I see something that looks kind of interesting, but I don't want to read the whole page and go through all that navigation that you'd have to with VoiceOver enabled. I just go over here to like the beginning of this, and just like I was going to copy and paste, hold it down, zoom across, come down, let go of it, hit my VoiceOver keys, which we talked about is my option and my escape key.
I don't know who needs to hear this today, but able-bodied isn't the opposite of disabled.
So, whatever that is, it reads it to me. I can move down here. It doesn't work so well on pictures and images and stuff like that. And PDFs, I have had problems reading PDFs with the screen reader. But I had the same problem with VoiceOver as I did with Zoom Text back in the day when I used Zoom Text. I don't know. It's just the way that I have it set up. But if you have some suggestions for me or some ideas as to how to read PDFs and how to read images better, please just let me know in the comment section down below. But this is how that works on these things. And if I were to, well, if I was to go to, where's my YouTube? There it is. There's this. But it will, if I just punch the VoiceOver keys, I'll zoom out here just a little bit and just show you what it does. See, I don't have anything selected, so it's not going to read anything. Okay? So let's zoom back in here. I'm going to go over here to Home. And then we got all this stuff going on. This is stuff that's on my home page, I suppose. If I hit the VoiceOver key, it doesn't do anything. So what that means is I can go over here, and if I hold the command key down, and I can move over these different categories without zooming in a long way, see, it will tell me and expand on what those are. And yours might be different. This is just stuff that I don't know why it's up there. It just is. But if I go down here and I click on anything that's a link and try to scroll across it, see how it just brings it up. But I can't read that. Now, if I were to open this up, I would be able to read descriptions and stuff, and I can try it.
Hey everyone, good morning.
We'll pause that on old Mark, or excuse me, Matt. And if I go to any of this stuff here, again, I can highlight that and read it.
Second stimulus check update for SSDI, SSI, low income, Social Security.
So it will read those bits of information. Just a shout out to Matt with the Blind Billionaire, just in case you're listening, Matt. How you doing? This is one of the guys that I follow, one of the YouTubers that I follow, so we'll go ahead and X out of that. But this is how and why I have my VoiceOver settings and Zoom settings set up the way that they are. I would be tickled to death if you would take a minute and leave some information in the comments section as to, if you don't use VoiceOver, if you use some other screen reader, what that might be and what you think the way it compares to VoiceOver on a Mac would be. Good, bad, indifferent. That would be outstanding. I'd really appreciate that. So what do you think? Is VoiceOver something that you could use, or have you used it in the past? Do you have a friend or relative you believe would benefit from the VoiceOver accessibility features available on not only the Mac OS, but also on your iOS devices as well? Be interested to find out how you use VoiceOver, or someone you know, or if you have a better screen reader idea that you prefer, use the comment section down below and let us know. Thanks. Appreciate your time. Make it a great day. Please, before you leave, make sure you share it with a friend. Like or dislike, whichever is appropriate for you. Subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks. Be safe. Bye.